Hey, Bill.
Hey, how you doing this morning? How's it going?
Doing great. We were just talking about the epic Halloween costume, the pirate. And are you somebody who I don't like dressing as an adult. I don't like dressing up for Halloween. Are you somebody who does or doesn't?
Depends on the occasion. That occasion fit it. So yeah, I don't think I'll be dressing up. I don't think I should be dressing up tonight. We got a lot of work to do here.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, on to next week. No time to dress up. Congratulations on the win, which was one of.
But when Randy throws a Halloween party on the bye week, that's a different story.
Yeah,
it was a good costume. Yeah. Very well done.
You should see Wiggy this morning.
Caught Mosley before the game yesterday.
Who dressed up? Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, a couple guys dressed up for the game yesterday. Yeah, I'm dressed up as Randy Savage. I'm called the Nacho Man, though.
Okay.
I got a voice and everything. Nacho Man.
Yeah, Wiggy's don't be thrown off. Wiggy's going to ask all his questions in the Randy Macho Man Savage voice. That won't throw you off, will it, Bill?
No, I think I'll be able to handle it.
Okay. So, as I started to say, congratulations. Win that was one of significance for you personally. We saw you and Mr. Kraft embrace after that game. Do you ever think about how things might have gone differently if you did not escape the Meadowlands?
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. Yeah, I've talked about that many times, and appreciate the opportunity to coach New England Patriots. Absolutely.
Bill, one of the things I think yesterday that your team obviously did a great job of, and did it last year against the Jets, was being able to kind of throw some different things at Zach Wilson in that offense, creating the turnovers. What were some of the things that maybe led up to being able to have your team do what they did was go out there and create these turnovers that, ultimately help you win the football game?
Well, I'd say it was a combination of some good coverage disguises from the linebackers in the secondary, and we had pretty good pass rush, and we were able to put some pressure on Wilson and, make him throw into duress at times, and our secondary did a good job of that flasher in the receivers and having awareness in the passing game and not coming out of coverage too quickly to force the quarterback, but to stay back and play the pass first. So I thought it just comes down to team defense like it always does. The pass rush, the coverage, all working together and playing good team defense, and that was, we had some good opportunities and took advantage of them, and caught the ball and made the turnovers. A couple tough catches there, especially Devin's on the sideline. Staying in bounds, that was really a heck of a catch. But as you know, a lot of times those DBs drop those interceptions, and why they play defense, but. We did a good job of, concentrating and finishing on the plays, and great plays by Devin.
Bill, both Mac and Ramondre talked about extra work that a group of them put in this past week. Was that something from the coaches or something that they took upon themselves to get done?
Oh, I think both. I think that, everybody really tried to put a little more into everything. After our performance last week, and we were able to perform a little better. So we'll keep trying to do that. Just keep trying to work hard at things we can improve on, and see if we can get them better.
When you think about some of these football games, Bill, I think a lot of people, they might not understand how difficult it is to play on the road and come away with a victory. Can you kind of talk a little bit about the difficulties of playing in a hostile environment and then being able to go out and, obviously win a game on the road, what makes it so difficult and some of the challenges?
Well, biggest challenge is playing a good football team. And, Jets had won 4 straight, and they're playing extremely well, top of the league in defense and on special teams, and has had a lot of explosive players on offense that been hitting a lot of big plays for him. So the toughest thing is playing a good team, no matter where you play them. And Jets are extremely well coached. They obviously gave us some problems, defensively, and then the kicking game. I thought we, try to stand up to them there, but it's a good football team, and that's what you see every week. There's a lot of, every team has good players, every team has good coaches, every team, has good game plans, and so there's no breathers in this league. It's got to be ready to go every week. So, on the road, offensively, you deal with in the kicking game, you deal with, some crowd noise and some energy from the stadium. You have to, bring your own, create your own there. But we've certainly played enough games on the road that it's not a new experience, but it's a challenging one.
A great team win, but for individuals, Matthew Slater and Devin McCourty, I know you gave Matthew the game ball after the game, and then for McCourty, the most interceptions for an active player. What do those two guys mean for you, both on the field, but more specifically in the locker room with a younger team?
Yeah, those two guys are fantastic leaders. They're right up there at the top of the best I've ever had. On and off the field, they're, unselfish, put the team first, do the right thing, work harder than anybody else, do whatever you ask them to do. I mean, you just can't ask for any more than that. And then they're tough and dependable and show up every day, show up every week, show up every year, ready to go and in top condition and as well prepared as they can possibly be. So it's really a privilege for me to coach guys like that. And as I said, I'd put them right up at the top of leadership, performance, consistency, discipline, toughness of anybody I've coached.
Speaking of Devin, he was on this show Friday, and we asked him about Mac Jones getting booed in that first quarter against the Bears. And he said, as fans, that we're sometimes spoiled here. I know you ignore the noise, but did that surprise you Monday night?
I was really focused on the game yesterday. Jets booed all of us. I mean, at the stadium. They booed me about 6 times, walking out on the field, walking in after pregame, walking back at the start of the game, walking in at halftime, walking back. I mean, there were some Patriot fans there. We had a good crowd. But, yeah, they booed me in the parking lot. They booed me in, I got booed all day. So that's what it's like on the road.
Uh-huh. No, but this is at home. I mean,
I guess that's a good thing. If they were cheering for you on the road, they're probably happy to see you.
Yeah. All
Like
right.
you want that. So,
Bill,
yeah. But, it's the NFL. Don't worry about it.
Bill, when you're able to look at the film and kind of go over some things, and one of the areas where obviously you guys struggled was the third down efficiency. What do you think was the biggest problem for you guys that led to the kind of poor performance that you guys had on third down?
Well, our third downs in the first half were pretty competitive there, especially we had a couple longer yardage situations. Didn't do as well in the second half. Again, going up against a good defense, good pass rush. We just got to coach and play a little bit better in those situations. And obviously, first and second down have a lot to do with third down. So, you're like we were in the fourth quarter there, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 11, 3rd and 21. It's hard to convert those. 4th and 1, that was a big conversion for us, obviously. But we got to, do a better job on early downs and stay out of longer yardage situations, and then work on our overall our execution. So starts with coaching, and as a team we need to continue to work on that.
Bill, 9 straight games with an interception for Mac Jones, 3 touchdowns, 7 interceptions this season. What's causing those mistakes that seem to be repeating themselves week after week?
Well, the interception yesterday, he got hit as he was throwing the ball. I mean, pass blocking would be better. That would help.
Well, he also had a pick six and had a pretty flimsy roughing call that brought it back, and had an interception that was dropped by a linebacker as well.
Yeah, well, again, a lot of that's just team execution. Combination of the play, the coverage, the route, the adjustment, and so forth. It's a combination of things. Certainly not all on one player. And collectively, we just have to do a better job of an overall team execution. So that includes everybody on offense: coaches, players, offensive line, receivers, quarterbacks, decision making. You name it.
Bill, when you look at the game yesterday, the red zone, when you start to look at some of the areas of cleaning up, obviously you've talked about red zone before, what do you feel like you guys need to do as a coaching staff to be able to come away with touchdowns rather than field goals that you think you can change and maybe make a difference moving forward?
Well, it's every area of the field. It's really the same thing. Just keep moving forward, eliminate the negative plays. Once you have those negative plays in a drive, that really decreases your opportunities to score, and you lose yardage, and you subtract it down, so it just makes it that much tougher. So we got to do a better job of having more positive plays or having fewer negative plays, however you want to look at it. And again, that's collectively all of us.
I feel like the definition of insanity is asking a question that you won't get an answer to, but I'll do it anyway. Trade deadline is Tuesday, and Wiggy says in this league you're either a buyer or a seller. Which are you right now, Bill?
I'm sure there are conversations that are taking place, have taken place, whatever. At this time of year, as a head coach, I can't speak for the other 31 coaches, but I don't think there's too many of us that are actively involved in trade conversations. Most of that's done on the personnel end, and then if there's something that's maybe applicable, then the conversation would come our way. But I've been focused on the Bears, and then certainly with the Monday night game, a short week on the Jets. All my attention and concentration has been on trying to prepare for the Jets, and people in our personnel department, headed by Matt Grove. Whatever conversations there are to be had with other teams, then those conversations are on that level. And if something comes up, then then he would bring it to me, and we would talk about it and discuss it with our personnel department, with ownership, and whatever else was relevant. So that's really how I would say generally the process works at this time of year. It's a lot different than what it is at the end of the training camp, when every team is cutting their roster down and there's a bye week between the last preseason game and the start of the regular season, and there's more, let's say, time and scrutiny put into all those roster decisions. It's just a little bit different now. So again, every situation is different, but that's generally the way it works. So, we'll see. We'll see what comes down, if anything. I have no idea. I'm not sure about the buying and selling part of it. I mean, I don't know how many trades Wiggy's made, but I think the bottom line is it takes two teams to trade, and so, unless you have two teams that are one willing to give up a player and another team willing to accept the player, however that goes, then there really isn't much to talk about. So usually when you make a trade, the idea is it helps both teams. Both teams want what they get and are willing to give up what they have to give up, and that's how trades work. So usually when one team gains, why would one team get a big advantage over another team? Why would the other team make the trade? I mean, it just doesn't really make sense. So there's a reason why teams trade one way or the other, getting or giving, however it happens to go. But you're getting something in return if you give up something, whatever that is. You give a player, you get draft picks, or another player, you give up. You get something, you have to give up something to get them. So if it helps both teams and it works, then the two teams will. There's a conversation to be had if they can agree on the compensation. But again, all those things take time. There's a process and so forth. And again, really, I wouldn't be part of that process, generally speaking, unless it was some type of, say, unusual situation. I wouldn't be part of that process until it had gotten fairly far down the road. So,
okay. All right.
There you go.
That was, sometimes I feel like you're clock managing the interview.
Does a good job at it.
Go ahead.
With Devontae Parker, is there...
You didn't want me to answer the question, and I saw that by the way you asked it. So
No, I'm just kidding.
I'm just kidding. Want an answer, I gave you one.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. That's why we're simpatico.
When it comes to Devontae Parker, is there any update on his injury?
No, there isn't.
Bill, one of the things that I noticed yesterday, and they did a lot of talking about this on the broadcast, and I love to get your insight on defensive players, is Quinnen Williams, and obviously talented kid, played at Alabama. What makes him such a difficult player to defend when you look at him as a defensive tackle?
Well, he's got really good size. He's powerful and explosive. He's quick, and he runs well. The play that there was a play early in the game where we got the ball outside on a screen, and he rushed the passer and then turned and made the play on, I think it was on Stevenson, all the way on the sideline for about a 4 or 5 yard gain. And so those are the kind of plays that, you don't expect defensive tackles to make, all the way across the field. And so I think, when you look at the effort and it was a swing pass to Ramondre and we kind of had some space outside there, and here comes the defensive tackle from 30 yards away, making a tackle for a 5 yard gain on the sideline. So you look at the pass rush, you look at the run defense, you look at the inline play, and then you see plays like that, and that's really, I think a good example of his versatility. But he has a lot of power. He's a very aggressive player that penetrates the line of scrimmage, gets into the backfield, causes disruption. It isn't always him making the play, but certainly Mosley, and his whatever it was, 15 tackles that Mosley had yesterday were some of those are certainly helped by the guys playing in front of him, particularly Williams. So he's a tough player. He's a good player. It's a good defense.
So, Bill, you guys face the Indianapolis Colts next week. Have you started doing any research, or do you know much about Sam Ehlinger, who's only going to make his second start of the season against you guys next week?
Yeah, we're on a short week against the Jets, so all our time really is put into that game, and we'll turn the page today and start getting ready for the Colts here this afternoon.
All right, Bill, congratulations on number 325.
Yes.
Quite an achievement for you, and thanks for taking the time this morning as always, and we'll talk to you next Monday.
All right, great. Sounds good. Have a good week.
All right, there's Bill Belichick, and we'll see if Wiggy got any nuggets